Who do people say I am? And they say, well, there are all kind of reports about you, Jesus. Some say that you're like John the Baptist, and some say you're like Elijah, the great prophet who's come back from the dead. And then Jesus turns and puts the question directly to them, but who do you say that I am? And that question continues to echo down through history, doesn't it? In every generation, every individual, at some point in our lives, we have to come to a decision, to a declaration. Who is this Jesus of Nazareth? Who is he really? Who is he to you? Some would say he's a Savior. He has come like the Messiah to change everything around in our world. Some would say he's the great mystic teacher. Why, you read what he says and what he does, and you can see that he has great insight beyond anyone else. He institutes new practices for his followers, like Holy Communion that we'll have today, and baptism, different rituals that we use, all spiritually to teach us something. Some will say he is the miraculous God-man, the only one ever to walk upon the earth until he comes again, fully God, fully man, able to do miracles, yet able to feel our pains and disappointments. Some will say he's the enigma, the one that no matter what label we put on him, we never can quite figure him out. He's the one that stands outside of history and judges history. Who do you say that I am? Nobody else can answer that for you. Nobody else can do it. Nobody else has your experience. When you're sick and ill, you relate to Jesus as the healer. I know, I've been doing that this week. Every time I stand up or sit down, I say, oh, Jesus. That's right. Heal me. Just heal me. Heal me a little bit. It just stings like a pinch every time. When we're down in the dumps, when we need God's counsel, when we need it to be lifted up, we think of Jesus as the great spiritual master, the one who could come to the woman by the well, and she was rejected by everybody. She came in the middle of the day so that she wouldn't have to hear the other women gossiping about her. And he says, I know everything about you, and I'll tell you a way to live where you'll have living water inside your body. Sometimes we relate to Jesus as the spiritual guide. When we're having our quiet time, when we're in prayer, when we have that feeling of being connected to God's countenance, it's a small, still voice. Who do you say Jesus is? Well, he's different things to us at different times, isn't he? But he's always the Savior, because he is willing to participate in and enact the salvific act of sacrifice. That's the second point of the story. It says right after he was teaching them, he started to tell them that he was going to go to Jerusalem, and there he was going to run into the political and religious authorities of his day, and he was going to be killed, crucified even, buried, and rise on the third day. And Peter takes him aside and says, don't tell him that. Things were just starting to go really good. You know, we got the country people coming out to hear us everywhere we go. They're willing to feed us and give us a bed. You know, things are good. Well, don't mess it up now. Jesus says, get behind me, Satan, Satan. That means the tempter. Don't tempt me with these worldly successes. I've got a bigger kingdom to proclaim. Jesus is willing to sacrifice himself. And because he is willing to sacrifice himself, we then, as Christians who live in this day, can sacrifice as well. After all, we follow Him as our model, don't we? So if He can sacrifice, we can sacrifice too. Jesus says this kingdom that is coming is a great big kingdom. It's a kingdom so big that it will be for everybody. That's the vision of the final kingdom. Every knee shall bow, every tongue confess. It's universalist. So if we're going to be a part of this great big kingdom that includes everybody, young, old, rich, poor, together, not together, righteous, those trying to be righteous, those just out of jail, those on the walk. If we're going to be a big old kingdom that invites in everybody, then we're going to have to do some sacrificing ourselves. During this week of Lent, we speak of sacrifice. You know, that's such an odd word to speak in our society today. It is 180 degrees opposite of everything that you hear in our society. Because our society's message is, get all you can right now. Don't wait, right? If you don't have enough money with the credit cards you got, get another one. Average middle-class family in the United States now carries 11 credit cards. I won't ask for a show of hands who has more or less than that. The average family carries 11 credit cards. Now, some of you are hearing that and say, wow, I can go get 2 or 3 more. We spend more than we have. Our government spends more than we have. Our state and federal governments spend money like it's going out of style. We say we need to cut back. We need to do with less. And everybody says, that is a great idea. You start. How will we teach discipline and fairness? How will we be able to give to those who we love unless we sacrifice, unless we do some self-discipline? I remember Carl Frazier, the much beloved pastor of this church, said that when he finally graduated from seminary and he went home to see his mom and dad after his first appointment, he drove up and there was a new car in the driveway, and he walked in the house and there was a new TV set, new carpet on the floor, and he turned to his dad and said, well, I guess you really did sacrifice to get me through seminary. That's right.